some viewers of Fox News, that interview that we just took a clip of Donald Trump, that was a Sean Hannity interview. And if you were watching that on Hannity's show, you didn't hear that part. In fact, they cut that part out. They left out the part where Donald Trump says that the negotiation he would have come to, because he always thinks there's a deal to be made, would be to give some of that Russian-speaking part of Ukraine back to Russia. That's the underlying principle Russia has. Russia goes into countries where there are Russian speakers and says, you're Russian speakers, so this must be Russia. That's why the Baltics continue to press back on Russia. It's what happened to Poland in World War II. In fact, you and your family are Russian-speaking of Ukrainian descent.
Yeah, I think, the whole notion of Russian speaking is kind of, almost irrelevant. There are a lot of different populations that speak different languages,
sure,
but they're not necessarily associated with the nationality. For Russia, it's a kind of a fundamental notion or a way to hang on to this notion that they are entitled to a sphere of influence in their near abroad because there are Russian speakers. Folks that you have to remember, because Russia and the Soviet Union and Imperial Russia were imperial power with colonies, it forced these populations to speak Russian. That's the only way these populations could survive. So yes, they're Russian speaking because of Soviet and Russian oppression, but the distinction is frankly meaningless. What I take away from that conversation is, hopefully we get dispensed with this notion that under Donald Trump, we would not be in a world where Russia would be conquering Ukraine. In fact, we would be, except it wouldn't be the concerted efforts of the democratic world, NATO, pushing back on Russian aggression, preserving a rules-based order. Instead, it would be, frankly, Donald Trump gifting to Russia Ukraine, or parts of Ukraine, which is this really, frankly, absurd notion. It would never have been a viable course of action, but that's where Trump started, because he has an extremely simplistic notion about how to make national policy work, how to make foreign policy work. It's pretty absurd. I saw it multiple times. He would just kind of attempt to wheel and deal and usually fall flat on his face.
But we do know that whether he wanted it or not, he got some help from Russia in 2016 and in 2020. So maybe there's some advantage to him saying the quiet part out loud here. Maybe there's some advantage to saying, if I were president, I'd end this war. I could end this war by letting Russia carve out a little piece of Ukraine.
Yeah, it seems to undermine his kind of fundamental strongman persona, where he would be too tough, too strong. That doesn't jive with me. I think it probably doesn't jive with the viewers. That if you give somebody something away for free, you're not really a deal maker. You're not really a strongman. You're kind of just bending over backwards to appease whoever you're going to, whether that's out of fear or weakness, intimidation, whatever the case might be. That's definitely not a show of strength. But this is the way kind of Donald Trump, we're in our second year of this major war, this geopolitical earthquake, and still Donald Trump makes these kind of nonsensical claims. On the one hand, saying it would never happen. On the other hand, he would saying he would give it away, appeasement, kind of World War II Chamberlain-like, and somehow in his mind, and nothing really comes together logically, but in his mind it makes sense.